this insane act at either trial. Schmidt unreliable identification and uncorroborated conflicting testimony was the only evidence against me. Schmidt gave Detroit L.A. Detective L.A. Van Buskirk a statement the night of the crime. Then Detective Jones a tape-recorded statement a week later, and also oral disposition under oath on 3/26/1999. Sporadically, while testifying in the second trial, Schmidt emerged with the most conflicting apex dubious testimony laced with nefarious fallacy, and was completely unheard of in the prior three statements given by Schmidt. This testimony I provide you with today is from the actual transcripts, records verbatim. Now for the testimony. Okay. Prosecutor Randy Head's direct examination of Schmidt. Question: and what did you do with the cell? Answer: as soon as I got into the vehicle, I called 911. Question: were you able to get through it in time? Answer: no. Question: why did you want to drive your vehicle at that point? Answer: I'm afraid that if the shooter came back around the building for some reason, and I didn't want to be standing right there for my own personal safety. Question: on what side of the street were you at the time that you drove past the truck? Answer: at that time I drove past the truck, I was right next to it. I proceeded to go across the lanes of traffic onto the opposite side of the road. Question: what did you see further south of the truck? Answer: the gentleman that fired the shots was walking on the sidewalk. He proceeded to look towards me. We made eye contact, and then he proceeded to run through Damien Center lot. And the three prior statements in the first trial, Schmidt was standing at the vending box until the shooter ran away from the scene through the lot. Question: Ms. Schmidt is the person who fired those shots in this courtroom today. Answer: yes. Question: can you point him out for the jury to describe what he's wearing? Answer: the gentleman in the blue shirt and tie. Prosecutor said, Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant, Leon Benson. The judge said yes. Question: now, at some later time, you gave a statement to Detective Jones concerning the incident. Is that correct? Answer: yes. Question: and do you remember how you described the shooter's complexion? Answer: I said he was fairly dark. Question: do you see the person you've just identified as the shooter in the courtroom, here in the courtroom? Answer: yes, Question: can you take a look at him, Benson, for me? How do you describe his complexion as he sits there? Answer: fairly light complected. Question. I guess the person you identified as shooter is not fairly dark. Correct? Answer. Correct. This is the 21st century. Not a courtroom in the old Confederate American South in the 1800s, such as unjust, dynamic, should not exist in the present civilized society. Was that testimony civilized? Now, I would like to present many times Schmidt's impeached. Though my trial lawyer did so very meek and passively, still Schmidt's far-fetched account of the events was divulged. Trial attorney Timothy J. Miller's cross-examination of Schmidt. Question. Now, when you were on the west side of the street, here's a newspaper vending box. You were filling that box when you heard the shots. Is that right? Answer. Yes. Question. Okay, your testimony is that it was misty. Answer. Yes, sir. Question. Now, on the same statement to Detective L.A. Van Buskirk, do you recall him asking you what first drew your attention to the shooter? What you most noticed about the shooter? Yes, sir. What was your answer? Answer, the clothing. Question. And these memories were fresh in your memory at the time. Is that right? Answer, yes, Question. And also, you described the shooter as being dark complected. Answer, yes, sir. Question. Do you recall saying that you couldn't identify the shooter, but you could recognize his clothing? Answer, no, sir. See the bold contradiction? Question. So if someone else were to testify that you did, it's your belief that they would be mistaken? Answer, yes, sir. This is an excerpt from Cheryl King's trial testimony much later in the proceedings. Miss King is a compassionate woman who called 911 also and waited with Schmidt until the police arrived at the scene. Question. Now my question to you is, did you hear the woman Schmidt who had gotten out of the van say something regarding to the shooter? Answer. She said, no, I couldn't see the shooter's face. All I know is that he had on sweats and a hood shirt. Now we're going back to Ms. Schmidt. Question. Do you remember a statement after the shooting took place when you saw the shooter come toward you, turn around, walking, breaking into a run, and going to the west side of the Damien Center, behind the Damien Center? Answer, yes. Question. Do you also remember making a statement that as you were driving, you saw the shooter running behind the Damien Center? Answer, yes. As I was passing the parking lot in the Damien Center. Question. So it's your testimony that the shooter was running behind the Damien Center both times, when you were still at the vending box and then after. It took time for you to get to the van and proceed south on Pennsylvania. Answer, no, sir. This dubious testimony was convicted an innocent man.